Futures. Porinju, good morning. Thanks so much for joining in. Is this...
Hi, good morning, Neeraj.
Good morning, Porinju. Is this the turning of the tide or is this a blip to your mind?
Oh, this is a normal correction, Neeraj. We have seen this many times. During the Brexit, or people used to talk about the Greece default. Then people were selling off for Trump winning. People were selling off for Gujarat elections. This is quite normal, As I told you, it's mostly people are speculating in the market. There are very few investors, especially in India. And that thing we are just started changing, more and more domestic savings coming to the market in the last 1 year. So there has been a little excesses also built because of the, trading, over trading or more leverage trading, the complacency in the market, I would say. So I feel extremely comfortable about what's going on. So today it looks like there is one more sell-off, I think some 350 points down on Nifty. I think it should be around the bottom. Of course, I had the same feeling yesterday. I think investors should stay sober. Don't get carried away with the noise in that kind of panics. There are many such panics happen in the last 5 years. Despite all those panics and sell-off, I'm telling you, people created huge wealth. In our case, we have made a 45.2% CAGR in the last 5 years, despite many such occasions of big sell-off and panic in the market. So this is just another panic. An opportunity for investors.
The question mark only is, Porinju, and you might be completely right, but just January, we saw a bit of a turn in how, fund investments came in, wherein DIs weren't exactly at the top of their game when they were putting in the money, because there were some drawdowns as well from domestic mutual funds, and FIs participated in a big way. Now, if the FI participation changes and the DII flow is not exactly as robust or mirrors what happened in January, can the fall get exaggerated? It may well be a blip, but can this blip extend itself from where it is right now?
No, it will not happen like that. Because at that peak of panic, on every panic, people give such kind of rationale. And it doesn't matter after a week, So we are going to have good times for investors in India. Should not panic. And in fact, the mid caps and small caps have corrected much more in the January and these days in February. You might have noticed it. So it's extremely difficult to predict about Nifty kind of thing, because in panic, sell-off or foreign investors are doing some, again, panicking. So it can move beyond what we all expect. But for investing community, it's a golden opportunity in India. We are going to have both technical aspects in our favor and the fundamental aspect. And that is a big picture. Technical aspects is in terms of the money flow into the capital market. And the fundamental aspect is the higher growth which is going to happen to our GDP quarter on quarter for the next 5, 6, 7 quarters. I am very optimistic on that, because India has set a stage for a takeoff for the economy. I'm very confident.
Porinju, can I just interrupt? Good morning. This is Ira joining in. I have two questions. I mean, your point is completely taken on board. But do you not accept, and this is a two-part question. First is on the global side. Second is on the domestic side. On the global side, the low interest rate, low inflation, easy liquidity scenario that has been maintained in the US now for years is going to turn. US inflation is rising. US interest rates may rise faster, and the Fed is winding down its balance sheet. Now, that has to have a bearing on emerging market flows. Nobody is saying there's panic or anything, but has to have an impact on emerging market flows, wouldn't you say?
No, this is applicable only for the MBA students, learning those things in the academics.
Really, sir? But the SDL numbers show you the kind of FI flows that we have gotten.
Ira, I am there 28 years in the market. I have seen much bigger gain on these kind of things.
Okay.
And investors have created huge wealth.
So nobody is saying investors have not created wealth, but surely there is an turn in the market environment which investors should take note of.
That is for MBA students. That's what I'm telling you. That is applicable only for MBA students, for writing the exams, if they have got a paper, economy or security analysis kind of things.
I'm amazed, sir, that you're saying that.
No, I am very much aware about this, Ira. It's not that I am not ignorant. I am very much aware about all these aspects what you are talking. What I am telling you, for investing community, don't scare them with all these,
I'm not scaring them. I'm just pointing out a turn in the environment. I'm telling you what is turning in the global environment.
Okay. I will answer to that. See, there are many such occasions. There were many such occasions in the last 5 years itself. This kind of turnings happening. And in spite of all these turns, there was some dip and panic, and that is what we call corrections. then market will come up. You will have some other things to talk about, why market is going up.
Yeah, so we are talking about what is changing now, and in the last 5 years, interest rates in the US have not gone up, so it only started last year.
No, so that is why I'm telling you, this is not the time. After everything has, gone down, and this is not the time to panic and give this kind of...
Not panicking, sir. Telling you what is happening or telling
I know that, even my peers know it. My office boys know all these things.
Oh, really? That's great. I'm really great to see. I'm very glad to know that the level of investor education is improved, sir.
Because this is, coming to the point, we understand the macroeconomic scenario globally or in India. Here, what is investing? You are buying ownership in some of India's companies. Am I right, Ira?
Sir.
Okay. So what should the investor look for? In the given economic environment globally or in India, whether these companies are going to create wealth for you in the next 5-10 years, how relevant is their businesses going forward? The numbers, can they grow at 15, 20, 25%? In a country where there is 1,300 million people living, they want to have their food, they want to wear their clothes. There is a huge consumption story emerging in India. And our economy is poised to grow at 8 to 9% in the coming years, if it is well managed. And there are symptoms that the politicians today, in the last few years, they have been managing the economy in a different manner, with a long-term vision. So that is why I told you, we have set a stage for a higher economic growth to take off for the economy. And I am very optimistic about that. The development has come to the forefront, into the center stage. And I am seeing India entering into a new, what I would say, a new era, a new growth orbit. Not only as an economy, even the investing. See what's happening in the Indian companies, especially in the mid-cap and small-cap companies. There is a unprecedented change happening in the corporate governance.
Sure.
After this, which I discussed with Neeraj a month ago, perhaps, in your studio, after this demonetization, GST, and many other actions and reforms by the government to bring down black money and to bring down the corruption in the country, this can be very effective going forward.
Yeah,
so that way, these companies, the promoters who used to be chore promoters and siphon out money, there is no more incentive for doing this.
Yeah, Porinju, good morning. This is Menaka. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I think what I was trying to understand from the point of view of investors, and they will be listening into you this morning, I get that the micros may be improving. I get that you feel that the Indian economy is in a strong position, but the macros might be changing across the world. And I think maybe it would be great to understand if your investment strategy would in any fashion, for the short to medium term, adapt to that changing macro across the world?
Yes, Menaka, I 100% agree with you. The macros are changing, especially with regard to India. We had a sweet spot, if you see the last couple of years, especially when the crude prices were going down. We had many factors, many macroeconomic factors in our favor.
And some of those are, I think, now amending themselves, which is all part and parcel of how markets move.
I agree.
How would your strategy change, therefore, let's say in 2018?
Okay. Now these macros have started, they have stopped. We are no more in that sweet spot. Now crude prices are moving up. The interest rates are going up. And whatever you are telling in the global situation, that is also correct. Despite all these things, we cannot just feel, okay, this is the world today we are living in, so sell off everything. So it doesn't happen. Now the micros will start playing in. When I say micros, the GDP growth you see next quarter and the quarter after next, you are going to see a very impressive growth in India. Because, first of all, we had a low base because we had many challenges while implementing these the never like before kind of reforms. So we had some kind of stress in some pockets of the economy, and many companies, they had a problem. They could not, have a normal working because of GST. There were a lot of confusion still going on, and people suffered, farmers suffered. All these are there. But now the micros are going to play better for the corporate earnings going forward.
In which case, what areas of the market, sectors or stocks or, themes would interest you the most in 2018, would be standout investment opportunities in 2018 according to you?
See, there are many sectors and verticals people can talk about, but I want to focus on one sector.
Okay.
That is the companies the mid and small cap companies where the corporate governance is turning around.
Okay.
This is a lifetime opportunity, once in lifetime opportunity, I'm telling you, for Indian investors to create wealth in the next 2, 3, maybe 5 years' time. This doesn't happen. This will happen only once in history. Because, there is no incentive to remain chore management, and there is going to be corporate governance and transparency and taking care of the minority shareholders. So for the listed companies in India, I'm telling you, investors have got a huge one-time opportunity, and this will last for next 2, 3 years. It's already have been playing last 2 years. So I think my advice to investors, with all these things, chaos going on around the world or in India, look at this improvement in corporate governance, the symptoms of improvement in corporate governance. You can very easily find it when these corporates, announce something which is shareholder friendly, some cleaning up of the balance sheet, or somebody, there are many such symptoms. Somebody may appoint an investor relations agency for transparency.
Or new MDs and CEOs, as we've seen as well, Porinju, in certain cases. So, I take on board your point, Porinju, there. And I think it's something that you very well explained when we did Alpha Moguls as well. My only question, Porinju, is more from a tactical perspective and not really a fundamental perspective. Even if this narrative turns out to be true, is this the time to exercise that narrative, or do you believe there will be better opportunities because of the correction that we're seeing on the global front?
I don't think it's a time to exercise the narrative. You have to wait for another 45 minutes. 9:15 only the market opens.
Okay, that's a good one.
You're in a light-hearted mood this morning, in sharp contrast, Porinju, to what's going on in global markets. It's not every day that we wake up and we see that the Dow has hit a 1,600 or a 1,500 point fall. But it's good. Your good sense of humor, I hope, is contagious across the Indian market.
It's not a humor. Take me seriously.
Oh, no, I know. We are taking you seriously. It's the good sense of humor that we're talking about. But, your point well taken that maybe this is a great buying opportunity. That's how seasoned investors will look at it. But let's not forget, there is a new category of investors that has come into the market over the last 2 years, investing via mutual funds, etc. Yeah. And I think for them, that this might be a slightly surprising day, and a day where they're going to have to hold that, sort of stomach stern, as they call it.
Which is why I wanted Porinju's view on here, because when we got 3 asset management companies before budget, and they mentioned that while they've seen the inflows continue, there have been outflows because retail investors took some money off the table from mutual funds as well.
But that's smart.
Yeah, it may be smart, but the question is that can that behavior get exaggerated in the wake of a fall? Because the earlier behavior happened when there was no fall. It was preempting some bad news in the budget.
Correct.
Now, on hindsight, it is smart, yes. But the question mark only is that now that the drawdown has happened and nobody predicted this, or nobody could have seen such a sharp pullback.